You tell your father I took the job. The one downtown? Yeah, I signed Friday. He glances at the folder beside you. So it's already done. You smile. I didn't want to bother you. I had it handled. He looks at you. You weren't bothering me. That should settle it. It doesn't. Because until recently, he was usually the person you called before a decision, not after it was finished. Your father doesn't make a scene. He asks when you start. You tell him next month. Then he checks the time and stands up. I've got to go in 10 minutes. He has lunch plans with two friends across town. He is already looking for the jacket he left in the hallway. Before he goes, he taps the folder once. Good for you. He says, I hope it works out. That almost makes the earlier question easier to dismiss. He has somewhere to be, so you tell yourself he was probably just surprised. And maybe he was. But on the drive home, you remember your kitchen floor. A few months earlier, by the time your father saw the samples, the installer had already started. He picked one up. Which one did you go with? You pointed to the darker piece. He nodded. Looks good. Then he put the sample back down. At the time, nothing about that felt strange. You had compared the options, you had hired the contractor, you had handled it. For years, your father had been the person you called when you were unsure. Not because he always knew the answer. He didn't. And not because you always did what he said. You didn't. Sometimes you listened for 5 minutes, thanked him, and did the opposite. But you got better at handling things yourself. So the calls changed. I took the job. We picked the floor. I already booked it. Your father's answers got shorter too. Sounds good. Hope it works out. Let me know how it goes. You read that as respect. Then he asked, so it's already done? You start thinking about how many times lately you told him after the fact. A few days later, you try to fix it. You are deciding whether to take on an extra project at work. So you call him. He answers on the fourth ring. What's up? You explain the project, the extra hours, the people involved. Then you say, what should I do? There is a pause. Your father says, how would I know? You laugh. That's helpful. I'm serious, you're the one working there. You push him. If it were you? If it were me, I'd probably say no. Okay, but you're not me. That is not the answer you expected. You thought maybe this was what he wanted back, a bigger role in your decisions. So why did he notice when you stopped asking? 2 nights later, he calls. Did you figure out the commute for the new job? Yeah, I bought a monthly parking pass near the office. Oh, a beat. Did you look at the train? Briefly, parking's already paid for. Right. Then he changes the subject. How's your sister? The whole exchange lasts maybe 20 seconds. Nothing bad happened. But again, he arrived after the useful part was over. The next weekend, you are at his place helping him carry a flat box from the front room to the garage. He tells you not to lift from one side because the bottom is loose. You lift from that side anyway. The bottom opens. A packet of screws lands on the floor. He looks at you. You see? Don't enjoy this too much. I'm trying not to. You both crouch down and start collecting screws. The conversation drifts back to your new job. He asks about the commute. You tell him the parking situation is sorted. He nods. Then you say, I thought you were annoyed because I didn't ask you first. He keeps sorting the screws into a small plastic bag. I wasn't annoyed. You asked why I didn't call. I did. That sounds a little annoyed. He smiles. Maybe a little. You wait. He does not give you a speech. So you ask, did you want me to ask because you wanted a say? He looks up. A say? In the decision. No. He goes back to the screws. Then he says, you didn't have to do what I said. Half the time you didn't. That's true. I just like getting the call. You do not answer right away. He shrugs. That's all. The line is smaller than you expected. No complaint about getting older. No demand to be included in everything. Just that. He liked getting the call. The floor sample he put back down. The short sounds good replies. The 20-second conversation about parking. You had thought you were removing a burden. You could ask what he thought and still make the choice yourself. You say, sometimes your advice makes me more confused. I know. Sometimes it's outdated. I know that too. And sometimes you act like there's one obvious answer. He points at you with the bag of screws. Sometimes there is. You laugh. There it is. He laughs too. Then he says, Look, don't call me about every little thing. I wasn't planning to. Good. He stands and puts the screws on the workbench. But once in a while, yeah. I like hearing it before you've already signed something. And even that has limits. Some decisions you will keep to yourself. Sometimes his opinion will not help. Sometimes you will ask and choose the opposite anyway. A week later, you are sitting at your desk with a registration page open for an evening course you have been considering. It would take up Tuesday nights for 3 months. Your cursor is resting over the final button. Normally, this is where you would decide, pay, and mention it later. Instead, you pick up your phone. Your father answers. You all right? Yeah. What happened? Nothing happened. That's suspicious. You smile. I'm thinking about taking a course on Tuesday nights. What course? You tell him. He asks 2 questions. Then he says, I wouldn't do it. You lean back in your chair. Why? 3 months of Tuesday nights? You'll complain by week 2. That is possible. Very possible. You look at the registration page. I still think I might do it. Then do it. You laugh. That's your advice? My advice was not to do it. You ignored that part. I haven't ignored it yet. You're going to. There is a short pause. Then he says, call me when you decide. You look at the button on the screen. This time there is still something left to decide.